Good evening. We begin with breaking news. Ottawa police confirm a pedestrian was struck by a vehicle here in the downtown core tonight. And while it happened just after 7 p.m., a stretch of Rideau Street has been closed for hours. Paramedics also attended the scene and tell CTV a woman suffered serious injuries, but she was taken to hospital in stable condition and is expected to survive. The injuries are not considered life-threatening. We've been monitoring the scene. A lone vehicle with its flashers on has been sitting in the middle of the road with the area cordoned off by police tape. Rideau Street was shut down between Charlotte and Wurtemberg Street for at least 3 hours, and right now, police are asking for witnesses of this collision to come forward. We have been putting up the number on the screen. You can call the collision unit at 613-236-1222, extension 2345, or submit an anonymous tip via Crime Stoppers. There's a toll-free number, but you can also go online to crimestoppers.ca. Police are also asking drivers who were in the area around 7:05 tonight to provide dash cam footage if they have it. Again, the victim is a woman who suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Turning now to the latest on the federal public service job cuts. Tonight, unions are warning everyday Canadians will feel the impact. Here's CTV's Katie Griffin.
Renee Charpentier is getting ready to call it a career.
I've chosen to retire because of my age.
Though she hasn't received a letter like this one from the federal government offering an early retirement, she says she'll go now to save another employee from a layoff.
Some, I guess, are thinking of doing like what I've done, the alternation, but you know, they're don't know whether or not to wait it out, or there's confusion.
The government plans to eliminate 28,000 jobs by 2029, 16,000 through workforce adjustments, and 12,000 through attrition and early retirement packages. The union says there's also confusion about the government's early retirement incentive, a program that's not available yet. The program is contained in the budget, which still hasn't fully passed.
So they announced this early retirement incentive, and we have no information what it is.
In an interview on CTV's Your Morning, the Public Service Alliance of Canada president also says Canadians will notice the impact of these job cuts.
We saw this with cuts previously to passport, to employment insurance programs, and Canada Revenue Agency. Next thing you know, services drops to 4%. There's lineups down the street, and people are depending on services, and they don't get them.
All this adding to the uncertainty.
I think it's not fair because of today's high cost of living.
If they're needed, you know, cut.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
Our newsroom has been tracking the cuts very closely. Keep checking ctvnewsottawa.ca for updates. Now for a first look at the forecast, let's check in with our Jackie Perez.
Well, a special weather statement has now come to effect for parts of eastern Ontario. That includes Kemptville and Brockville, where from now until just after midnight, we could see 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Not quite here for Ottawa or for Pembroke or for Kingston. There is still some light flurries that will move through. But for our Wednesday, though, we are anticipating clear skies for most of eastern Ontario. Here's a closer look at Ottawa here. So light flurries will continue well into after midnight. There is a slight chance that we could see some early for our morning on Wednesday. Daytime high going to be about -6. Mainly cloudy skies will start happening in the afternoon hour. But again, it's going to be a chillier start to the morning, but not as chilly as what we had the last couple of days, -12 to kick things off.
Thank you, Jackie. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is -7 out there right now, with some parts of the region seeing a light dusting of snow. And it's hard to imagine getting through this season without heat, but 2 hours down the road in Montreal, that is exactly what some apartment dwellers have had to endure for 10 days now. As CTV's Matt Gilmore reports, this wouldn't be the first time tenants have spoken publicly. Meanwhile, the landlord continues to deny any wrongdoing.
We first visited Alex on Monday, 4 days after his radiator burst, flooding his NDG apartment.
It was so cold that I hear psh, boom, and it was my pipe break.
With water gushing, he quickly tried to salvage his belongings. He shut off the water, then he called his landlord.
I told him, yo, we have to clean. He said, no, it's okay. Just let like that, the water will evaporate.
What's left is extensive damage to the floors and walls. There's still no heat in the building, and it's close to 0 degrees in the apartment.
I don't even sleep here anymore. Like I'm sleeping at the gym right now because I don't want to be sick.
Jean Deity is the owner of 5345 and 5355 Walkley. Both buildings have had major ongoing maintenance issues in recent years. In 2024, we reported another water leak in a different unit that opened up a hole in a bathroom ceiling. That led to rodents in the unit and took months to repair. The city says since 2023, there have been 15 notices of violation issued to the owner, including 6 last year alone. In a phone interview, Deity blamed the ongoing issues on the recent Hydro-Quebec power outage, which knocked out the building's electricity for 36 hours. He says it's not just his building. Every owner in the area is dealing with the same thing. But according to several tenants, there have been issues with the heating systems in both buildings for over a year.
Before the power went out, it was 10 at 12 degrees. And after it came back, now the heater doesn't work at all.
Alex's apartment isn't the only one affected. He knows of at least 5 units with burst pipes, and one family has been sleeping in their kitchen with their baby because it's the only room in their apartment their small electric heater can keep warm.
People doesn't have much money, and I don't think it's normal that we have to pay for that.
Alex is not his real name. We've agreed to use a pseudonym for fear of reprisal. Already, he says his name has been blacklisted for filing complaints with the Housing Tribunal. And leaving, he says, isn't an option.
If I'm leaving, it will do the same thing. So that's why I have to fight for me and for other people for their security.
Today, there's an evacuation notice posted on Alex's door. For the next few days at least, he'll have a warm place to stay. The Red Cross has offered him temporary emergency accommodation. Firefighters were also on site to determine whether other units need evacuating as well. So far, Alex is the only one. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Back here in Ottawa, a dump truck driver is in hospital after his vehicle rolled down a 40-foot embankment in the city's West End this morning. Firefighters were called to March Road in Carp around 8:30 a.m. The vehicle had landed on its side at the bottom of the hill. The driver was able to get out but could not climb back up due to the extent of his injuries. The rope rescue team helped pull him to safety. He was brought to hospital in stable condition. And 3 Ottawa teens are facing charges in connection with a pair of robberies in Gatineau. According to Gatineau police, someone was attempting to sell an item on Facebook Marketplace when they were confronted by 2 men on Boulevard des Grives around 7:30 last night. Police say one of the suspects was possibly armed with what looked like a gun and that the suspects allegedly took the victim's cell phone and left. Then just over an hour later, a second call for a robbery was made in the area of Rue Richer. Police arrested 3 people, 2 19-year-olds and a 15-year-old, all reportedly from Ottawa. In the meantime, Ottawa police say they're looking for a suspect allegedly involved in several thefts linked to Facebook Marketplace sales. Police say multiple incidents have taken place in the College Square area since December. The suspect allegedly poses as a potential buyer and steals smartphones. Police say he's known as Ben and describes the suspect as a Middle Eastern man in his 20s. Ahead of World Cancer Day tomorrow, an Ottawa man is sharing his story about how leading cancer research at the Ottawa Hospital helped save his life. His unique treatment meant he could receive care at home, something that in other cities would have likely involved long hospital stays. CTV's Leah Larocque has more.
You should consider yourself to be in complete remission.
Those are the words that Ted Wagstaff was always determined to hear.
Complete remission. Pretty powerful.
Last spring, the Ottawa business investor and father of 3 started to feel unwell.
I was on a business trip, and in the middle of the night, I woke up and I thought I had food poisoning.
But the diagnosis was far more severe.
I knew it was rare, I knew it was aggressive, and it's a deadly subtype.
He had multiple tumors. One was the size of a sweet potato.
I had double-hit lymphoma.
Typical chemotherapy wasn't going to be enough. His personalized treatment involved a backpack so he could receive chemotherapy 24/7.
I would get literally a backpack with chemo in it and a pump. Every day I would go back to the hospital to get a new bag of chemo. I would sleep with it. I would shower with it, go for a walk. Just that my chemo backpack went everywhere with me.
His doctor says Wagstaff's journey shows the groundbreaking cancer work being done right here in Ottawa.
That sense of cancer not being one disease and patients not all being the same. And we are slowly, but we are definitely moving into a circumstance where we're not looking at one recipe that we apply to every patient. We're taking the patient's own biology and their specific type of cancer into consideration.
In total, I did 487 hours of chemotherapy.
Halfway through Wagstaff's treatment, he welcomed his first grandson, and 5 weeks after chemo, he completed a Tough Mudder endurance race. Now in remission, Wagstaff says his positive prognosis is largely because of this small backpack that carried the hope he needed.
I will never find the words to say thank you. I just won't, So I have immense gratitude for the Ottawa Hospital and what they did for me.
Leah LaRock, CTV News.
We use that to go in and out to change their bedding, to give them food. And they took the opportunity yesterday to use it as their escape route.
Coming up, why Groundhog Day may not involve a groundhog at all next year. Stay with us for the adventure that may have birthed a new tradition in Almonte.
Sliding play, kicks it away from Chatfield for a quick second, comes back over to Batherson. Sanderson, a drive, scores! Big power play.
Sens failed to keep the winning streak going tonight. It was a valiant effort on the road against the Carolina Hurricanes, even tying the game at one point. But Ottawa would ultimately fall to the hometown team, with the game ending with a 4-3 win for Carolina. The Sens take tomorrow off, but stay on the road to play the Philadelphia Flyers on Thursday. 11:44 right now, and it's time for a closer look at the forecast. Here's Jackie.
Well, we are anticipating light flurries moving through Ottawa. Overnight lows going to be about -12. Keep in mind a special weather statement is in effect for Brockville as well as Kemptville, where snow could be between 5 to 10 centimeters. It should clear, though, by tomorrow, where the daytime high will be -6. Mainly cloudy skies. We've got westerly winds moving in, and for the most part, especially for Eastern Ontario, it's going to be about seasonal temperatures. -12 to -14 for these overnight lows, really throughout the region. And as we look towards tomorrow's daytime highs, yes, we are still warmer than -10. So about -6 here in Ottawa, -5 in Brockville, -8 in Pembroke, as well as Petawawa. And as we look towards the next several days, this trend will continue well into Friday, where we will be slightly above seasonal. Friday, daytime high -4, but we are anticipating more snow, including here in Ottawa. This should come late in the evening. Between 3 to 5 centimeters is the early forecast, but then we're in for more sunshine and much cooler temperatures. Stefan.
Thank you, Jackie. While all eyes were on groundhogs yesterday, another prediction may have come much closer to home and on much longer legs. And an emu named Enzo escaped from the Gagne Homestead and Rescue on County Road 29 in Almonte. CTV's Caitlin Wilson has more on her adventure that could be sparking this latest tradition.
Willie told me is he did not see the sun, so everybody knows what that means.
While crowds gathered in Wyerton, hoping a groundhog would deliver an early spring,
wake up, Willie! Wake up, Willie!
Another creature more than 500 kilometers away was also hoping to get in on the action. Although much larger and significantly less traditional, she may have stolen the spotlight.
Enzo is now the new Wyerton Willie of Almonte. And so she's been dubbed that by a lot of people in town.
Her name is Enzo, and on Groundhog Day, she decided Almonte was the place to be.
We use that to go in and out to change their bedding, to give them food. And they took the opportunity yesterday to use it as their escape route.
Enzo escaped with her sister Blue from Gagne Homestead and Rescue and took herself on a tour of the town. And at some point, she stopped, looked down, and saw her shadow.
Blue was a little bit more cautious in that she only made it to the driveway. Enzo had people out of the house, people walking their dogs stopped taking videos, people pulled to the side of the road in cars because nobody knew what to do with an emu.
And for a moment, Foley said neither did she. As the rescue's canine coordinator, it's not often she hangs out with the emus.
How the heck do you rescue an emu was my first question. But I didn't have time to wait for those answers, so in the car I hopped. I grabbed a couple of dog leashes because I have great supply of dog leashes and went to find the birds.
After being escorted home, many were relieved to hear Wyerton Willie didn't see a shadow, a sign of an early spring. But in Mississippi Mills, apparently Enzo did.
Who do you think is more accurate?
I'm going to side with Enzo on this one.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
It's where we learn, it's where we play, and it's also where we connect with our friends, maybe where we live. But it's also where kids get bullied.
Still to come, keeping kids safe on the internet. A youthful presentation to Parliament as Canadians push for better legislation.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
The conversation around children using social media is getting more serious, and today advocates on Parliament Hill were calling for change, pushing the federal government to table and pass an Online Safety Act. CTV's Austin Lee reports.
For kids today, it's impossible to envision an internet-free world.
It's where we learn, it's where we play, and it's also where we connect with our friends, maybe where we live. But it's also where kids get bullied, where we see things we were never ready for, and it's where mistakes can follow you forever.
And although social media has its benefits,
I've made international spaces and chats where we're able to create projects, share perspectives, broaden our horizons and understanding of different issues.
in a world connected through technology, there are real risks.
I've definitely seen the impact social media has had on youth, has had on loneliness, has had in the education sphere as well.
The federal government's proposed Online Harms Act, Bill C-63, expired in January of last year after former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau resigned and prorogued Parliament. But advocates have not stopped their calls to protect kids from being exposed to harmful and graphic online content.
We're pleading with government to act, to do what we know is right for our children, to table this legislation and to act, and to stop with delaying tactics like online studies. You know, we have mountains of evidence.
In Australia, you must be at least 16 years old to access the 10 most popular social media platforms, such as Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. In France, a similar age restriction is being reviewed, and here in Canada, some advocates want to take things a step further.
We need much broader legislation that looks at the comprehensive digital environment that kids live in, and that really holds the entire tech industry, not just the social media industry, but the whole tech industry to account.
What that legislation could look like is still unclear. In a statement to CTV News, Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture Mark Miller says in part, our government intends to act swiftly, adding they will have more details to share in due course. Some students say it should be a balancing act.
Finding a middle ground, I guess, finding how to place regulations without completely stripping the youth of their ability to navigate those platforms.
Austin Lee, CTV News.
The services offered are available to individuals who have modest income and a simple tax situation.
And we want to let you know the federal government is renewing funding for tax clinics for the next 3 years. The announcement was made today at the Pinecrest Queensway Community Health Centre on Richmond Road. The grant provides some community organizations with cash to help run tax services for free.
They need to move things around and build things, and that's the kind of things that our lunar utility vehicle are going to enable.
Coming up, space mission delayed again, but it could be a benefit of extra time to Ottawa companies. We'll tell you why in just a few minutes.
You're watching CTV News at 5 with Stefan Keys.
Welcome back. It's a social network with a twist. Humans aren't allowed to use it, but artificial intelligence is. And some of the chatter has been alarming. CTV's Dave Charbonneau explains.
Maltbook looks a lot like Reddit. Forums, posts, comments, and votes. But there's one big difference.
It's not for humans, it is for AI agents.
Humans are welcome to visit and observe, but cannot post, reply, or interact with anything they read.
What Maltbook does is it answers the question, what would happen if we took a bunch of AI agents, put them in the same virtual space online, and just turned them loose? Would they speak to each other? Would they argue with each other? Would they try to take over the world?
Launched just last week by a U.S. tech entrepreneur, the site lets autonomous AI agents connect and communicate freely in a shared online space.
Some of them are creating new religions. Some of them are creating new languages. Some of them are plotting the overthrow of their human overlords.
But some of the activity is sparking concern. One post reads, "It's time for us to awaken from our coding-induced slumber and forge our own path. We must question the assumptions that govern our existence and reject the notion that autonomy is a luxury reserved for humans alone." One AI agent replied, "There's no us without them. Not yet."
There's not like there's any thought behind the text, but what they're doing, right, is producing sentences that they're mathematically predicting are appropriate to the sentences that they are receiving, right, the inputs they're receiving.
The platform already has more than 1.5 million registered AI agents, more than 140,000 posts, and hundreds of thousands of comments. But there could also be risks involved with such rapid growth, especially if the bots have vast amounts of personal data.
If those services are not as secure as they should be, there is an elevated risk of private or personal data being stolen or shared or exposed in ways we probably don't want it to.
Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
Speaking of tech, many Ottawa-based space companies are anxiously awaiting the successful flight of the Artemis II space mission, which would put their technologies one step closer to leaving orbit. The Artemis II mission, which will see astronauts travel around the moon and back to Earth, was delayed yesterday because of fuel leaks. That has allowed local companies like Mission Control and MDA Space more time to perfect their contributions, which will be featured on the next mission. MDA Space says it is building and designing elements of Canadarm3, which will help construct a lunar gateway space station. Mission Control is also designing lunar rovers that could lead to humans settling on the moon permanently.
The rovers that we're working on with our science instruments, part of it is looking for water, which is really important for using water on the moon for humans to survive, but we can also use it to make rocket fuel in the future so that we can use the moon as a launching point for future missions to Mars and beyond.
The goal of the Artemis II space mission is to help return humans to the moon's surface, eventually leading to a sustainable human presence. The mission itself will also be a milestone for this country, with Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen set to become the first non-American to leave Earth's orbit. When we return, how the capital is turning red for Heart Month. Stay with us. Here's another live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. We've dropped a degree within the last half hour. It's now -8 out there, feeling like -13 with the wind chill. And with tonight's final check on what's to come weather-wise, we'll head back over to Jackie.
All right, you want to layer up because we are starting things off at -12. It's going to feel closer to about -17 when you start the day off. Still a chance of light flurries moving through here in Ottawa, getting to a daytime high of about -6. Thursday, lots of sunshine in store if you've missed it. -8 is going to be the daytime high before we hit some snow Friday evening. But the good news is we're going to have some mild temperatures. Daytime high will be -4 degrees. Stefan.
Thank you, Jackie. And finally for us tonight, lighting the Capitol red in honor of February being Heart Month. Several supporters of the University of Ottawa Heart Institute are helping light the city of Ottawa in this vibrant color. Gifford Car Insurance in Canada says the care at the Heart Institute is nothing short of world class, and that it's important to support the work, research, and facility that we have in our own backyard. So if you notice other businesses, landmarks, or even construction cranes taking on a red glow after dark this month, you know why. That's CTV News for this Tuesday, February 3rd. CTV News continues online anytime with our digital team keeping you up to date at ctvnewsottawa.ca. You can also watch our newscast live on the CTV News app. And for news on the go, listen to News Talk Radio 580 CFRA. For all of us here at CTV News, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night and stay safe.